before y'all left, I mean, how did that process go? Was it difficult? The
I got
transition?
I got you. As soon as he tells us about the money that we have to pay, all the fellas, we look at each other. Nobody really got jobs. We looking like, oh shit, how we gonna pay that? So I remember Faye specifically saying, "Man, I guess everybody got to get a job." And then we get his money up, and then after that we just meet back up. So I'm like, man, okay. Well, anyway, in between that, I started messing with this chick, right? Mm-hmm. Y'all remember her name? I'm not saying her name on here because I ain't trying to make her famous.
No, please don't. Yeah.
But y'all remember the one that I'm talking about.
If she ain't already famous, don't make her famous.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway, she has a lot of connections in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Now, first thing I find out is she knows this guy named Billy, who is a vocalist at Rap-A-Lot. Mm-hmm. And he was married to this lady that was a higher up at Rap-A-Lot. That's how I got the card for John, the entertainment lawyer.
Old John Lewis.
That's how I ended up meeting John Lewis, was through that. So John Lewis looks at our contract. Mm-hmm. We send it to him. And John's like, wait a minute. Number one, he's getting 20% of your gross.
Yeah.
That ain't what it's supposed to be. 20%. Yeah. So he gets paid before the government get their money?
Exactly.
So that was the first red flag. Number two, he said, look, all of y'all are minors, technically. He can't have a contract with y'all and y'all are that young. Yeah. He can't do it. So long story short, John wrote Mathew a letter saying, leave these boys the hell alone or else it's going down. That was how we got out the contract.
Got your contract. Release them from the contract. That's it.
So that's how we got released from that. After that, check it out. After that, I'm out with this same girl because we dated that whole time, right? Mm-hmm. She tells me to take her by the studio. I go to the studio. The studio is jammed out. Mm. Of course. So if she goes, we go inside. I meet, what was his name? Silk. The little engineer that used to work there?
Yeah, it was. It sure was.
Silk.
Yeah.
Silk was there working on a project, and all of a sudden I meet Patrick and Vince.
Yeah.
They coming up to me talking, and then, of course, I got the demo in the car. I'm like, hey, man, I'm in a group. And he's like, oh, yeah. So I played a demo for him. They mouth hits the ground. That's how we got with Jam Time.
Yeah.
Okay. And the rest. So in that process, was Mathew trying to stop anything? Did he try to throw a monkey wrench in your program?
After John sent him that letter,
he was done. Yeah. Boy, whatever John put in there, whatever language he used, Mathew understood it very clear.
But then
he used that lawyer language.
Exactly. The legalese.
Look.
Yeah. So what happened to the project at Jam Down? Why y'all never had no releases?
Well, I would say go back from before that. How was the introduction to Jam Down? Like,
we needed new managers though, because we had to go get new managers. So
we had to get new managers. And didn't we pick Will?
Yep, Will and Pimp.
Yeah, honestly, we picked Will.
Oh, and then
hold on. So question. Were these guys that y'all know are naming right now, were they in the music industry? Did they have a history in the music industry?
They had money, but they didn't have a history in the music industry.
They had money and connections.
Yeah.
They were all Qs. They were all Mega Sci-Fi.
Yeah,
Will is my brother.
And Will is Joe's brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were frat together, and he brought them in. Yeah. Will was Joe's brother. He brought in Big T and Pimp to basically co-manage, and they were like the Trinity.
Oh, so y'all had 3 Suge Knights.
Exactly.
I get it.
I remember the first gig we did with Will was when we did the Scott Gertner Skybar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I still got the pictures of that too. I got all the pictures.
Wow. Oh, man.
You never posted that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I need to scan them, but I got them all in a photo album. Y'all be shocked what I had. I had the instrumentals for the whole album.
Oh, wow.
But when I was converting them to MP3, the tape player ate up the tape.
No.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And I still have the 8-up tape in the closet in a bag because
he's like, just in case.
He said I might be able to roll it back and fix it.
You say one day technology.
One day.
Hey man, you better.
Hey, Faith, remember you had them little intros, them little instrumentals on.
Man, I used to love them
all
joints.
that.
Man.
It had everything.
So my question now is to during that time with Jam Down, what was their plan with you guys? Like what was going on? You know how record labels can be. You could get record a whole album and get shelved.
Right.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, I've been in the record industry for a while, so I know exactly how certain projects can get done, mixed, mastered, and it never comes out.
You know what? To even cut that down, the truth of the matter is, and I don't even think the group really talked about it, they wanted us to fit a mold, and we weren't going to fit that mold.
What type of mold was that?
They wanted us to be that. They were looking for something that, put it this way, they went and they signed a little Kiki. So they wanted everything coming out of their label to go a certain way. Even when I started to do things solo there, they wanted you to fit that particular street sound there, and you could tell because they tried putting us with another producer. They wanted to bring a producer in. We were basically almost done with the album, if not done.
It was.
And they wanted to bring another producer in and have him rewrite and produce all of this stuff all over.
So who was producing most of the stuff on the up and coming album that y'all were recording?
You already know who that was.
Yeah, that's Phil had a song on there. How does it feel?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a jam.
So did y'all feel like y'all had a hit single?
Yeah, I thought we did, dude. Show Me Some Love.
I think Show Me Some Love. Creeping. Maybe.
I heard Creeping. I never heard Show Me Some Love. I remember Creeping, but I never heard the actual version where y'all recorded Creeping.
You know what? If you look at it,
Decision of Silence was a hit.
We had some nice stuff. It's crazy. We were one vocal production and mastering production away from a solid project.
I think so.
That's just the truth, man. Especially at the time, there wasn't anything like what we were doing. We actually had found a way to cross-pollinate everything that we all enjoy, from the Take Six to the Jodeci to the Boys to Men, vocally and production-wise.
Lord, we come today before you, giving thanks for everything that you do. These tears from my eyes become a raindrop to fall upon my soul, to love you more. Do bow. What do we do without you and your blessings? Don't take them away, no. It's amazing how you brought me out of darkness. Here I stand to praise your name, giving thanks for all you have done and will do. There's no other one who stands above you, giving thanks for all you've done and will do. There's no other one who stands above you. Giving thanks for all you will do. There's no one who stands above you. no one who stands above you. You give me thanks for all that we'll do. There's no one who stands above you. Give me thanks for all that we'll do. There's no one who stands above you.
Yeah. It was all there, man.
I'm glad you said that, Faith. Because
man,
if you had one group from H-Town, like I look at Atlanta, right? You had 112, you had Jagged Edge.
Right.
I look at Houston, you had H-Town Boys.
Right.
And Ideal. Well, before Ideal, because Ideal came out years later, but you had no group to fill that void between H-Town and Ideal.
Right. Yeah.
I always felt that was Adagio.
Yeah.
To fill that void, because there was still a Southern sound with the gospel still, like, because everybody was church boys.
Right. Yeah.
But it was like, to me, a mix between Silk and Boys to Men because of the harmonies and because of the sexiness of it. It was still Southern. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So what do y'all feel like was y'all missing in that project?
I think it was in process. I think when the group broke up, which was around when I got word that we actually weren't a group anymore, was around. We're about to get started up in here.
When my mama
we gonna get to this. This is the climax. This is the climax of the thing, because this is my heart. Y'all broke my heart too, motherfuckers. So, because I was bragging on you.
Hey, come on, you ain't the only one. My brother tell me that all the time. He like, man,
I'm telling you, I was bragging on y'all, and even in my production career, I always was like I said, I would pay homage. Like, man, I always got to pay homage to the people that started me, because if it wasn't for y'all, I probably wouldn't know anything about recording music or or productions or anything like that. I always was like a drummer. That was my thing. But I was like, man, I gotta make this stuff sound good. I want to learn how to make my beats sound like this. And I also want to get into you, FaZe, because you played a big part in of some things in my career as well. But let's get back to the breakup. Originally, what happened?
Hey man, let me go first. Let me go, because you gonna have it all.
Go ahead, FaZe. Go ahead, FaZe.
The gist of it is, we were young, we were prideful, and we were fearful, man, because we all didn't really know our direction at that time, and cats didn't really know how to communicate. If you think about it, man, young black males weren't really taught how to communicate. Sit down, talk this out. Even if it would have been a boxing match and they're like, all right, are we over this? Let's talk it out. And that's really it, man. There was a lot of fear, and man, we were all getting pressure from all ends, because most of us, we was still at home with family, bruh.
Yeah.
And most of them had already been down this road. My father had sang in many groups, back in Louisiana. And so you think about the way they were raised, it was, you need to go out there and get a job, because all they saw was then. They didn't see what you were, shooting for.
Right.
And that, man, to me, that's really all it was. I look back on that. I used to years ago. It was really just sitting down, communicating, and being truthful and honest and not fearful, and because, man, there's a lot of stuff that I would have done differently had we just taken it all in our hands and just said, all right, even if this is something we just do on weekends, if we're just in nightclubs doing this, there's a whole different way we could have went about that. But in my mind, that's all it was. Mook has details, because
let's go. Let's get to Mook, and let's find out from his perspective what actually went down.
Check this out. Now, in defense of the people I'm about to call out,
Look, hold on, Boot, you look like you got a list down there.
I do remember this. I think we went in the studio that last time around, I think it was like July, something like that. And then after that, I didn't really hear nothing. You know what I'm saying? We weren't in the studio like we were, because we were recording our album, and we had laid down, most of like 6 songs. I think we were like 6 songs or so into completing the album. I think it was like 9 or 10 of them on there. You know what I'm saying? Well, anyway, we go through this dry spell where we don't really hear nothing. Now, remember, I'm the only member that's not even in Houston. Remember, I'm in Galveston County because that's where I'm from. So I don't hear nothing, but I'm at home. I'm not in school. I ain't got a job. I'm just waiting to hear something from the group. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, when I finally do hear from the group, they, I think it was either FaZe or Taz, one of them, but they telling me, oh man, Eden quit the group. I'm like, what the hell you mean Eden quit the group? Word? Check it out. He say he tired because his mama been on his ass about he need to get a job or something like that. So he signed up. So
that
he signed up
right.
So he signed up for the Navy. Now I'm immediately pissed off because I'm like, number one, he ain't even called me and told me nothing. You know what I'm saying? And number one, and number two, a year and a half before, we actually in FaZe and Melissa apartment. And I tell the group, hey y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get out the group because I want to go to the University of North Texas. And work on my bachelor's in jazz studies.
Yeah, he got to get this off his chest, man.
I remember that.
Hey, go ahead, man.
Everybody's like, nah, man, this is check this out. But the one that got me, the one that made me change my mind, Ephraim Elon Edwards gets down on the floor, on his knees, and he says, Moot, come on, man, you can't let us down like that, man. You gotta want it, man. You gotta want it. Do you want this? And he gives me this. And he gives me
truth comes out.
Dude, and he gives me this big pep talk, and I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, he right. I do want this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, nah, damn that. I'm staying. So fast forward a year and a half later, they telling me he quitting. Oh, hell no.
Hell no.
And then cut it to top it off. He never called me and said nothing. So now that had me hot. But then FaZe and Taz was like, man, he quitting, but it's all not lost because Phil, we can just have him drop down the bass. And I'm like, okay, that'll work, but that's still jacked up, but that'll work. You know what I'm saying? I kid you not. Next thing I hear, Phil quitting the group too. Why is he quitting the group? Because he want to marry Bunny. I'm like,
I remember that.
I'm like, now how the hell? Number one,
what is Phil right now? Phil on yourself.
And I'm like, you been telling me you can't be married and be in the group? What kind of shit? What kind of shit? So
hey man, Dresser did it on the 500.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But he got out the group because he wanted to get married. And I'm like, oh hell no. Now at that point, I'm still down, even though I'm pissed. But the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, FaZe had been going back and forth a little while. We had a little discussion to where he was like agitated with some stuff, and he's like, man, remember every other week he'd be like, man, I think I'm quitting. I'm like, nigga, you
every other week. That's
you better not quit. You better not quit. But you know what I'm saying? I'm like, this nigga wrote every goddamn song. How the hell he go?
Exactly. Without him, we ain't got nothing.
So long story short, when Phil quit, that's when FaZe say, I'm out. I can't do it. And that's when me and Taz looking at each other like, oh shit.
What we gonna do, Otis?
Hey, and that was when I say, okay, that was 95. Man. Right at that moment when the group broke up, I decided I'm going back to Prairie View.
So Joe, it's on you.
Quiet.
Hold on.
Super quiet.
E, I'm gonna get to you last. Joe, you gotta give me your side. Joe, you been quiet through this whole ordeal.
You know what? He was quiet then too.
Exactly.
I've always, and I'm glad you're here because I've always referenced you to Eddie Kendricks and the Temptations. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Ask Joe.
Oh my God.
What was your take during this whole ordeal?
Oh my God. Look, even just looking back on it today, I'm like, leave them doggone niggas to them. I'm like, we was this close.
This close.
Oh my gosh. And just,
that's funny, man.
Just talk about like even school, and this is not talking about regrets or anything. It's actually talking about bringing some things back full circle. But, when I was leaving or finishing up high school, I was like, I got to go to college. Nobody in my family went to college. So I applied to Rice. I applied to a Morehouse College. I applied to U of H, and I got accepted to all of them. But I was like, okay, well, I can't do all of this because I don't want to leave because I wanted to go to Morehouse. I can't leave the group. So I'm gonna settle and go to U of H. And so this is not talking about the group. This is just sharing a little something with you guys. But just the week before last, I got accepted to go back to Morehouse to finish my degree. I'm going back to Morehouse. I start next month after I come back from vacation. So so that is that. And that's my second chance. But even after we left Mathew and we started making that music outside with Jam Down and doing them performances in them shiny ass pants that Big T made us.
Yeah.
Like that was just so much, like I was telling my wife, I was like, I'm getting ready to get on a reunion call with Adagio. I miss my brothers. It's just, that there's always, we shared so much. I remember my nose getting open. I think Will and them took us to perform somewhere. Was that New Orleans or we went out of town?
Was that Jack the Rapper? Or?
And I went to, y'all took me to my first stripper club.
Oh,
maybe that's not supposed to be on the record. This is what I'm talking.
Right? No, we need this. We need this. This is what I'm talking about. Continue.
Look, I am still talking about stuff I ain't never seen before. And I'm like, okay, this is the life I need to live. So sometimes
he called it a stripper club. So he's still
a stripper club.
Yeah. He called it a stripper club.
Yeah.
And all the syllables up in that.
That's the same thing. Thing. But talk about all things happening the way they're supposed to happen. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, like if we had made this thing and here I am, the quiet guy with my nose just wide open. Like what? And I probably would have been that Eddie. I won't claim that, but man.
That's funny.
What I meant by Eddie Kendricks, he was always from my acknowledgement, the quiet guy of the group that just wanted everything to work out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, you pinned it, bro. You pinned it.
Wanted everything to work out. And what I remember, my cousin reminded me of this when we went somewhere and she would always be like, Joe know every goddamn song on the radio. Every song that played, Joe would sing.
That's
like
right.
Every song on the radio. If it was R&B, he knew every word. I was like, man, I was crazy about. That was my memory of you, though.
Yeah.
E. Otis.
Otis gonna quit the group.
I'm hearing all these accusations.
That's funny.
And you're breaking my heart.
They say the truth is coming out.
He's like, oh, he didn't tell me that.
Yeah, he ain't never say that shit.
Yeah.
What was your version and why?
Your version.
Did you leave Adagio? Because the Navy was not calling your name.
No, it was not.
It was not recruiting. We were not at war. Mama was not going to kick you out.
Elon, man, I used to love that, bro. I used to love when she would do that, bro.
The group was already on the fritz. We
It wasn't
like 100% tight no more. So you ain't have anything to really stand on that was solid. It was kind of just floating. So I remember Mama, she had that talk with me. She had brought me in the room and she was asking me what I was going to do with my life and all that, and singing all that secular music. Y'all don't need to be doing all that no way, because she had just kind of started getting really heavy in ministry.
Yeah,
so,
you just got ordained.
Okay.
So she was kind of really, really pushing it. So I remember she had sat with me. We was in a room and brought me in and gave me the talk, and I'm feeling all guilty and convicted. Like, you know what? We ain't supposed to be doing this, no way. That's why it ain't working out.
I know what I'm finna do. I'm finna shut it all down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I remember going to the mall at Sharpstown. I was like, I'm going to the Air Force, man. I'm going to the Air Force, and I'm going. That's what I'm gonna do. And that's what I went to the Air Force.
You didn't go to the Air Force though.
No, he did.
I went in there and I went in there to go do the Air Force, and I took the ASVAB test. And the guy, he was like, "Man, you ain't got a high enough score for the ASVAB for Navy. I mean, for the Air Force." And I was like, "Oh, so what happens now?" He's like, "You can't go in." I was like, "Damn, what I'm gonna do now? I can't even go to the Air Force. My score ain't high enough." He said, "Yeah, you a couple of points off, man. You can retake it." He's like, "Go study a little bit more, retake it, and then come back and see me." I was like, "Damn, all right." So I'm walking out, and I hear this. Psst, hey.
That's funny.
The Navy.
I turned around, Navy recruiter. He's standing outside smoking. He's like, "Come here, young cat. What you come here for?" I was like, "I was trying to get into the Air Force." He's like, "Yeah, you ain't get in, huh?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, "You ever thought about the Navy?" I was like, "Nope." He's like, "You got a high enough score for the Navy. Why don't you come and join the Navy?" I was like, "Man, I'm not going in no water." He's like, "Man, you gonna go all over the world. You can see everything, and the women. Oh my God, the women! You gonna
sign me up?"
I'm so like, okay.
That's all it took. He was woman crazy.
Man,
I was ready then. I signed up, and that was it. I was like, I'm going to the Navy. And that's when I started my little journey, getting ready for boot camp, trying to learn how to swim.
Wow.
That's what I told, of course, went through field and all that, told the usual. I guess I didn't tell Mook.
He showed it. And that's what hurt me more than anything. He didn't even call me and tell me. I'm like, dude, we've been tight. I always consider myself tight, having an individual relationship with everybody, even though we was a group. And I was like, after what you told me 2 years ago, you ain't even gonna call me.
But you know what though? I think there's a disconnect there, because I want to say something happened to where the group was partially divided. Mm-hmm. Like something had happened, or somebody got into it or something, to where we kind of had these group offs. You know what I'm saying? Like we had these clusters within the group. So I think E at the time wasn't really talking. Like we all weren't really talking to everybody, because I can't even remember what it was, to be honest. Yeah. But it was something there, because it was like 2 of us would talk, then 3 of us would talk, and then the other 2, that type of thing. Yeah.
Bays, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm not gonna get too deep on this podcast, because we're this is actually our first show. But it's funny you said that, because I treat brains like hard drives. So I'm gonna need you to dig deep right now.
Okay.
Wait. Before you ask your question,
go ahead.
You ask your question, I ain't know this was no podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is actually a podcast.
I just heard like, hey, we're going to have a conversation with the group.
So let's clear that.
I'm halfway still in my work clothes.
No, you good, bro. Look how I am. I'm in a t-shirt.
Let me
You just more flyer than me.
Let me tell you what happened. Because if Gillum was here, he could attest, because he said earlier about Ephraim's business savvy.
Okay. That's
I wanted to get together. I wanted to get together with the bros.
Yeah.
It was gonna be us just reunion. Let's get together and talk. And in the chat, it's on black and white paper. He said,
exactly.
"Hey,
you got to figure that's exactly what it was."
why don't we capture this?
Wow.
And make it a moment. And it was really genius, because the thing is that you only get first time to talk about this like this. Haven't been a minute. Everybody kind of get a chance, get all the little foggy stuff out the way. So I just wanted to clear it up for Joe. Joe, your heart was right. Supposed to be.
Your mind was wrong.
A loving conversation.
wait,
Joe, you ain't being quiet for nothing.
Yeah.
Let me. I'm not gonna.
All the secrets. That's why Joe quiet.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna bag off my question, Faze.
Okay.
What do you honestly feel? Why did you honestly feel? Why? I mean, I want to get you, because you to me were the leader. One of the. I looked at you as a leader, not just as a lead singer, but I want to get your take honestly on why.
Eddie Kane. Faze, go ahead, get that Eddie Kane.
Well, you stupid. Honestly, where did you feel the disconnect came from?
We were young. I don't believe we just had the tools to communicate at the end of the day, man, because we had internal feuds, and you think about trauma. Sometimes trauma can hit and stay with you. You don't even know you're dealing with it, right? So you have your brother, you love your brother, you know what I'm saying? But y'all have trauma. You don't even know y'all have trauma until something happens. Something happens and you go, why did I react to what he said or did that way? You don't even realize that trauma is there. And I believe collectively as a group, we had a great deal of that, because we were trying to make decisions collectively, yet also think about ourselves individually, because I would venture to say a great deal of our parents and the people around us were teaching us and telling us to think about it that way, right? Because they're like, hey, at the end of the day, you are responsible for you. And I really believe that was it, man, because I used to think about this a lot back in the day. In the beginning, there wasn't any one instance where I was like, yo, this was the camel, the straw that broke the camel's back. I think it was a lot of internal lesions, man, that we just had not found a way to heal. And we didn't know how. It's sort of like when you have the relative or the close family friend that, does something abusive to you, right? You get older, you mature through that thing, and you say, you know what? I really can't even hold that against them when you get to the root of it. You know what I'm saying? You don't put yourself in that situation again, but to the root of that thing, you go, they really just didn't know better. And we didn't know better, man. Because I guarantee you, if you took Adagio today mentally where we are and took us back to that time, boy, we would have had that meeting a long time ago.
Right.
We'd have been like, hey, man, we need to sit down and have this meeting. We need to figure out what's going on, because why are we sitting here as bros saying we love each other, but we know internally there's some disconnects? Because why are you only discussing what you have a problem with these two people? Why didn't we talk about this in the group collectively? Because that's what we would do, man. Boy, I'm talking about, man, we would get Timmy Chan and some brisk teas, and sit down, man, and we would just be like, oh man, it's about to get ugly today. I'm talking about be at work, bro. Like, man, this meeting tonight gonna be a heavy one. You know what I'm saying? That's what we would do when we were just collectively committed to one another. That's what we would do. We didn't care how much it was gonna hurt. You ain't know who you were gonna be wrestling with that night. You ain't know if Mookie was gonna challenge us to push-ups. Like, man, bruh, it was just, and that's what I believe the gist of it was, man.
That actually, bro, is probably the best explanation that I was expecting. Because I look at, we've all grown and y'all of course y'all niggas a lot older than me. Y'all probably like in y'all 60s and shit.
Whatever.
But honestly, that statement says a lot. I live by X's and O's in life. And when you've never, Faze, you mentioned, what is this meeting about? What was this thing about? You just said it. It was about closure. It was about opening and closure. It was about saying that, hey man, we had something.
Oh yeah.
Like y'all had something that a lot of cats don't have. Y'all have a story that a lot of cats can't live to tell. Right. Y'all dealt with some big names. Yeah. Y'all dealt with some y'all have some careers, that stem from, even though y'all have careers now, y'all had careers as teenagers that a lot of teenagers can't say, I had that experience.
Facts.
So that's why I say I give flowers now, because even though I was telling E, what was the name of this podcast? And I was like, man, I was going to name it. What did I say, E? What I was gonna name it? If almost was a group, Adagio was.
I remember that.
If almost was a group, Adagio was that group. Because I looked at y'all as that way, and I say, hey, when he presented this opportunity to say, hey man, you want to host this shit? I was like, hell yeah, I want to host that shit. Because I was on the outside looking in, and I was like an admirer as a musician, as somebody coming up to say, hey man, even though I didn't, make it to a certain level, I dealt with big names too. But at the same time, my beginning was y'all, whether y'all know it or not. You know what I mean? It was y'all. It was according to, of course, it was groups like Intro, Jodeci.
Yeah.
But when you know personal, like when you know these people personally, these people were in your mom's living room, and you like, man, and you like had conversations with these people on levels musically, because all of y'all are musicians. Right. Whether it's with your voice or with your hands, with your body, all of y'all are musicians. And when you have studied musicians in your life, you pay homage. Yeah. So my thing is, okay, when he was like, oh man, I wanted to get the group together and I was like, all right, cool. Let's do that. So I'm gonna go to Phil next. Yeah. On this note, Phil.
Yes, sir.
What was your take on the breakup of Adagio? How was you feeling at the time? What was your take on that?
And I think it's been spoken in a couple of different ways, and saying correctly in each phase that we all had a lot going on, but also, and I feel that I want to go to the end. Let me go to where I was, because I know personally, the personal pressures that I had, which had me putting it on the scale immediately, was Tamara came up pregnant. And so when Tamara came up pregnant and I looked and saw almost what FaZe had said that he was seeing, I mean, him and Mookie was basically recording without us, right? You know, they was going and doing it because we couldn't get together and get up there and doing it. And so with that being said, and not really being in contact with each other like we were at that point, it wasn't a hard decision for me. Yeah. Because it had got to the point to where I felt like, you know, when you get grown, you mature, and you see, Matt, everybody that was around us, outside of us, turned us against each other. Like, and I loved Will and Pimp. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But they would pull one or two of us to the side and say something. Mathew had his moment. He pull us to the side. Yeah. Even Uncle, you know, like Uncle Ken, and when he would say his positive things, it was like, man, you know, when he would say things, it was like, man, I wonder what would happen if all five of us could hear what he's saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like when Joe family would hear us and say different things, it was like all of us was never, it was a time where all five of us were around to hear the love at the same time, you know? And I think without having that, because I know, like on my family side, as far as my parents went, they wasn't feeling it. And so I didn't have that support. Like when I get home, how did y'all go? How did that go? You know what I mean? It wasn't that. And so I was having to lie, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. I lied about us getting paid for shows. I lied about us doing things, because if I was gonna be missing class and doing a lot of other things,
you had to make it make sense.
That's all of us. All of us in some sense.
And so, but the truth was, man, like it speak to what Faye said. We didn't, and it come from wisdom, right? Like when we were divided, or when we were made to be divided. And I don't know if it was, I don't think that whoever was managing us or talking to us or encouraging us was seeking to do divide and conquer. But at our ages, we didn't need much to fuel the fire.
Amen. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so when it came down to that, it was like, you talk about X's and O's, you know, it's like, man, I know we are on the brink of finishing this thing, man, you know, but we've been here before. And that not only are we not with Mathew, we were jammed out, we moving, we doing this thing. And now I got this baby on the way, you know, what am I going to do? And I need to find me a job. You know what I'm saying? And so I take responsibility for my 20%, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew where my mind was. And so with that being said, I think that the reason why I think that even through all these years, I think we find times to be harder on ourselves than what we should be. Because if you line up every group of that time that made it, we were all lining up perfectly until we got to the point of what Faye somebody, or we've all said in a way, as far as connection and communication. Yeah. If you look close enough at every group that made it, somebody, folk was already in the industry, somebody was already married in, somebody having to trip up and wind up at the right fried chicken spot with R. Kelly at the same time. Like something. Yeah, for sure. We had beautiful chemistry, and God worked that thing out for us to come together. But the break of having somebody in our inner circle that had already made it and that was committed to us being together never happened. Right, and because we, from the inside out, the people that were surrounding us didn't have the experience. They had the love for us, but they didn't have the experience. Right. And so because they didn't, I think we swole and got bigger, and it was too big for the support that was around us that was supposed to be keeping us together. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was a gorilla glue combination coming up, but all we had was Elmer's holding us together. Like it was that was really the case. And when I use that example, of course I use Jodeci. All we hear about is the road trip Jodeci took. They dropped everything from Carolina and drove. Yeah. Man, when you tell these people, man, you was Ken, I'll be sure. Will you tell somebody that? You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk about all these other groups that made it somewhere, and we didn't have that elder statesman to get us all together and say, man, y'all stand together. You know, Because if we had an elder statesman outside of us to say, man, y'all stand together. That's my take on it. I think that we were all 19, 20 years old, and we were making real grown man decisions that lawyers get paid to do.
Oh man, heavy ones, bro.
Yeah. You know, and
Reverend Phil. I love that.
Hey, let me piggyback on what
I'm saying. You put that. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, I just want to piggyback on what you said, man. Yeah, dude. Tonight, I'm glad you said that because I never knew what you just said, man, about the baby. But the only thing that bothered me, like when you quit, because I know me and you had a really tight relationship. You the reason I got in the group. You know what I'm saying? And you never called me and told me you was quitting. I just didn't hear from you no more. And then I was like, yeah, I ain't hear from you. And I'm like, I found out you quit from Joe and FaZe. And I was like, damn,
Mook, at that time, you had stopped talking to all of us. I'm just going to tell you.
Man, I ain't stopped talking to everybody.
Mook.
No, man.
I'm just going to call it. Mook, I know that you ain't, like say, you and FaZe, y'all was doing what had to be done as far as the studio. So y'all was really close. And it speak to what he was saying. Right. We might not have chose to click. But
what I'm saying on my end,
right?
On my end, that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Granted,
right.
We hadn't talked, but I still felt like I had a relationship with everybody in it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't that I was tripping. I still was putting everything on hold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was at home waiting on the studio. Waiting on when we was gonna go finish the product. So regardless of what it might have looked like,
that's what it was.
Go to battle. You know what I'm saying?
I owe the group. I know personally, like especially like dealing with what I did with my piece. I know I owe the group an apology. You know what I'm saying? Because even though I made the group that made the decision that I felt that I had to at that time, you know what I'm saying? I definitely could have done it in a better way. And so I want to make sure I apologize to everybody on the line, because it was because of the group that that I was even, like you said, we all put everything on hold. I was on full scholarship at Prairie View. All of a sudden now I'm in Barber College. Why? Because I'm tired of driving back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
didn't you get on at the post office too?
I was doing the post office at night.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so it was, and with staying in my house, I had to pay rent in my house, y'all. So I couldn't play.
Wow. That's because you was
heavy, bro.
That's because you was smashing all them girls. Mama was like, "Hey, look, you gonna be having these babies.
Do something else.
This ain't Tweeties. God damn it!
Oh, Joe,
that's funny.
2 hour, you got gold. 2 hours.
It's funny. Hey man, I'm gonna say this. I mean, I appreciate the apology, man, but I think for all of us, for me, it really goes back to what I was saying about we just didn't know any better, bro. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always hung it on. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like, which is something that I'm learning more and more every day now, is the ability to communicate to people those things you feel towards them.
Facts.
Because it's easy for me to go to these people, colleagues in the industry and so forth, and be like, yo, I got some bros. I'm telling you, yo, if you heard us back then, you'd be just gone. But if I'm not communicating those things to my bros or how much I love my bros, then that still leaves, those internal lesions, so to speak, and it speaks to what I was thinking. There was just a bunch of assumptions, and the outside forces got us to where we weren't able to do what we had learned to do on our own in the beginning, which was, yo, man, we need to sit down and sort this out. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so it's just one of those things. I always saw it that way. I was like, man, we didn't know any better, and I still thank God for the time, because, man, if this type of stuff doesn't give you anything else, man, it gives you family you would not have any other way. It's one thing to have relatives, because blood is one thing, but family you choose, bro. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But when you choose family, man, and you just like, nah, these are the cats I'm riding with regardless. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you look back on what we were able to have, the things we were able to do. That was the one thing I can say I always loved about Mook. You know, Mook is like a detailed historian. Because Mook can bring some stuff up, bro, and you'd be like, snap, pieces of a dream. Exactly. I forget that. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And man, and I remember back when Big T was living, I actually got an opportunity to really chat with him, you know, and I told him I love him. It blew him away. He didn't even know how to deal with it. And he told me, he said, FaZe, I gotta sit on that for a minute, because I've never had anybody tell me that the way you just told me. Because I was telling him, I said, man, I have memories of stuff, but sometimes I can't put the details together. Like, I remember there was something with KC and JoJo. And I couldn't remember if the group went and we opened for them or if it was something individual I did. But I told him, I said, I just remember KC and JoJo. That was the night that I learned that those cats, everything you hear in their songs from Jodeci and KC and JoJo, it's the truth, man. Well, I just remember those cats had a floor full of women. And I was like, T, I got to get off this floor, bro. I got a family. I can't be up here, man. and we were talking about that, and I was telling him, I said, man, we had something that nobody can take away from us. Mm-hmm. And that is a joy I carry with me, man, because nobody can take those things away. Like, there are things even now, man, when I'm on the truck and I'm over off 610 and stuff like that, man, I'm, you know, just stuff, it's automatic because we did it so much. Right. And you have to catch yourself because you find yourself about to take an exit you don't need to take. Like, oh, I'm finna go to Joe's parents' house. What am I doing? Wow. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that, man. And that's crazy. Like, but nobody can take that away from us, man. Regardless of what pains we went through, what things we didn't clear up, the things we didn't know, you know, nobody can take the experience of Adagio away from us. Just like nobody can take away from you, Cutter, like the things that you saw in us, you know, which I think is important for us to hear as well, because I've been doing this a lot with people I talk to about not downplaying our significance. I think, I don't know, I just think with our society, if we don't have a way to measure it by a number, we don't call it significant. You know, Adagio significantly touched my life. I mean, like, Melissa and I still have jokes, man. There was this guy I did some music with. He could never get Adagio right, so he would call me Fadagio. so Melissa and I have this thing sometimes where, like, we'll email or when we're talking and she's like, hey, Fadagio, what's for dinner? And man, we laugh so hard because that dude, when you really think about Adagio, bro, that is an easy word to pronounce.
Hey, bro.
That cat was Fadagio.
Do you understand that I was actually in the height of my production career? I was going to get some youngsters and take y'all group. Like, for real. Like
Mookie did. Hey, hold up. Let me tell you. Hey, Mook. You know we gonna be able to come to one of the
shows. Oh, Lord. I see that shirt. I see the shirt.
Check it out. The award-winning Adagio chorus.
Nah, hold up.
They got straight ones at UIL every single year, and they exist.
Let's clear this right
now. My boy is quiet.
I need that shirt.
Yeah, I need that, bro.
I need that shirt.
Bro. Hey, and I'm gonna tell you this: when I can figure out where I can key the intro, that's my issue. Can't nobody hit the basses, and can't nobody hit the highs. I gotta figure out how to range that intro. When I do, they hitting the stage on that intro.
I don't give that. Hey, I need a shirt. I need
that shirt myself, bro.
Yeah, you're gonna go ahead and print that out for me too.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Every time we hit the stage, I think about y'all.
Hey, I ain't gonna hold y'all too much, but everything you saying, Space, I remember the times where, we used to go to your house and play we were playing live back then. NBA live, and y'all be like, "Oh man, Chris, get out the stick. You ain't got no skills, man."
everybody had their own man.
Look, we go to Joe's house, and Joe and me and your brother was real cool, Joe. I don't know if you know.
I did not.
Yeah. We was real cool, man. Alonzo. We was real cool, man.
Yeah.
Phil, man, all I remember at your house was it was boring. y'all ain't let me do nothing. Y'all ain't let me do nothing because y'all was always talking to girls. Shit on three-way.
Hey Phil, I ain't gonna front you, but you still got that shirt hanging up on your wall? You know what I'm talking about?
Hilarious, bro.
Well, look, Phil, he was a player. He was like, we gonna call him. Look, between him and Orlando, they was the players.
Right.
We gonna call such and such.
Before you go too far though with it, I mean, there was a lot said. On a real note,
there you
go.
Lot
that Paige said, man.
Go ahead.
It touched me. Yeah, man. Big T, like. In a real way, y'all, like we missed that.
Oh man,
yeah. Like like when I talk about having the support of around and like, but really, Joe whole family. I mean, I don't mean to be putting Joe family on the spot, man, but Joe, your family, like, they picked up a lot of slack for a lot of our families, bro, that didn't really support us.
Oh, absolutely,
man. They were.
Right.
They were. I remember that.
They were our family, bro. And
really?
I ain't even have. I just started right. I didn't have none of stuff, but I'd hear, Will, freaking fair, and he do whatever. But that Big T piece, man, it's like when you look at music history and you have that one person, that Fat Man Scoop, or you have that Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis piece. He didn't have of course he didn't have the fame or the notoriety, but he had the juice.
Oh yeah.
We didn't, sure. You know what I mean? We in a lot of ways, man, we slept on that piece. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The love and support. You know what I'm saying? But man, I definitely wanted to mention that because I know, like I said, man, I speak on my family. Like I say, they and they loved all of us, but they were a present tense clan. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that families like Ease and FaZe and Joe, what I mean, y'all families like really kept me encouraged. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I know like even like Mook was like the adult because Mook had been through the military, so he knew about communication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was gonna win the conversation. It wasn't an argument. but the thing was, he had learned that discipline. He had that. We didn't have it. So he was nurtured like by the government. You know what I'm saying? So he was trained.
Yeah.
But we had to be nurtured as by rote, and I got that nurturing, man, from each one of y'all's families, man. Like y'all just really don't know how how y'all kept me, y'all encouraged me during this thing as far as your families, man. Like even when we it's funny, like even going to the little thing, I only had a chance to go to it like one, 2 times with the the thing that you would do, Joe, when you was down here at the park. And then the way we did the thing, we was like right back in it, like we never left. Joe, going to your family, music come up, right back in it, like we never left. You know what I'm saying? FaZe, whoever we around, just kind of glad to be around you. And then your dad and all them, they was supporting. Like I didn't have that piece, and so I just wanted to make sure that it's noted that I really appreciated the support that y'all families had toward it. You know what I'm saying? And it triggered something when he said Big T, man, because it
man. I had to make sure I had to tell him. I was like, man, you playing games, and I think it's just one of those masculine joints. But I was like, nah, T, like I love you, bro, because
square business, bro.
You need to know this, and I'm really glad because man, it wasn't much longer. I didn't even know, and they told me he passed away. I'm like, God, dog, man.
Hey, Faze, I talked to him 2 days before he passed.
That's crazy, bro.
Because honestly, I was having, I can tell y'all, I was having some, not reservations, but when you grow up and you start really reading and learning for yourself, and I was having some questions, and about just religion and beliefs and, and this and that. And I knew he was really smart when it came to that. And he told me to give him a call. And I talked to him a good hour, and he's one of the ones that really straightened me back up on the path that I'm on now. But I talked to him. It was about 2 to 3 days before he passed. Man.
Crazy, man.
And everything he's saying, I can't believe y'all broke up, man.
He gonna say that. hey, and he would always say, he would be like Orlando, man, y'all broke my heart, man. It's funny. Yeah. Anthony Anderson.
So look. I'm going to touch on that, and then I'm going to go into the aftermath. Like Dr. Dre left.
Oh, we might have to have a part two.
Part two? Yeah.
We probably better do that. We'll have to wrap up here in a little bit.
Because I am typically quiet, but that's definitely what's happening right now. I'm already
so it's 10:25, so we're going to schedule another part two of Adagio in the aftermath.
For sure.
And we'd like to invite anybody to this platform. It's called Concrete Reality TV. Ultimately, this is of course a different subsidiary of it. Sorry, I've been drinking, y'all. But ultimately, man, this is the first actual show, and I'm proud, man. Y'all understand, bro. I'm proud to say this is the first show. To see all y'all together and to have this technology, to be in different cities, to see all y'all, man. All y'all my big bros, man, and I love y'all. Y'all, we see each other on social media and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I gave y'all flowers, and that's it, man. Anybody want to else, say anything else? I'm out. I'm good. So, E, you want to say something?
Nah, I'm looking forward to part two.
Part two.
This was entertaining. I've learned a lot of it. Man, I'm listening and I'm like, wow, I'm taking it all in. So.
Yeah,
I hopefully we can get another part two in, because I know we kind of jumped on a lot of stuff and kind of rushed into a lot of stuff. But if y'all can make time to come back on the show again, and we can do this just to close up shop, and then we can work from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As you can see, I was raised in the streets.